All right, everybody, welcome back to Master of the Universe podcast, a podcast where Chris is always trying to squeeze in a gangster movie or a thriller, but we're doing Halloween 2018. I think we're on episode 64-ish, somewhere around there.
60. I thought 64 was today, Creep Show 2.
All right, so yeah, we're 65 then. Episode 65. And of course, there's an update as soon as I get this thing started. Anyway, so this one came out 3 years ago, and there was supposed to be a sequel, which will be coming out very shortly. So it's in preparation, we're doing this. And with me, as always, Mr. Christopher J. And I was in 10th grade, 11th grade, bullshit. And Gabe, the man beast. What the fuck's going on, gents? As Chris likes to say.
Well, Gabe, you always start with the damn news of the hour, so I'll keep mine. I'll say mine and keep it quick. Honestly, just lately been watching that impeachment show on FX. That's a great show. Of course, I watched Raising Kanan because it's a prequel to the show Power, which I love. And last night, me and the wife got to finish up episode 6 on Ozarks. I could not believe that fucking little young blonde broad tried to kill.
I've never seen it, Chris.
I thought you started on that.
Nope. I already knew, dude. Mr. Spoiler. He never wants to talk about shit. Watch. He's not going to give us that much detail about Halloween, but he's going to spoil Ozarks for me. So he's watched. Nope. Haven't seen one episode.
First four. I'm going to tell you, first 4 episodes are going to be slow. But once you get past episode 3, episode 4, you'll be like, okay, this is really starting to take some nice shape here.
Did you ever finish, what's the show I was watching like a month ago? The one that Mark was talking about, dude. My point is, you're talking to a guy that's killing series like Michael Myers is killing, teens, dude. I sit there, nothing bores me. If it's got a decent story, I'm gonna watch it, dude. So you don't gotta sell me on Ozark already, because Mark's already got it over, dude.
We're a little past the halfway point on season 1 on Ray Donovan. We're going to finish that pretty soon. But honestly, once we get to season 2, it'll be full speed ahead. Because I know that one. I remember that. That was when when I would go to his house or something, we would watch it. But really, right now, the MVP right now is impeachment. If you're a 90s politics Clinton Mark,
No, can't say I am.
I'm not a Clinton Mark. Let's the listening audience let that know.
Chris, it's got true to life, so automatically I'm hooked.
That's right. All right, G-Money, your turn, man.
All right. Well, just want to let you all know, as far as news going on, October 30th, Houston Horror Film Fest will be coming out with. They have their own little horror market pop-up where they have a couple of guests that are actually coming up. And one of the guests I'm actually particularly excited about is Bonnie Morgan. If you're not familiar who that is, if you ever seen the American The Ring movies, 1 and 2, she was the little ghost girl that would actually come out of the well and then straight out of the TV and go and attack her victims. So I thought that was pretty neat. They have her as a guest going there. Actually thinking about going. So I thought that was pretty cool. As far as other stuff, Salem's Lot, if you're familiar with that old movie, the old vampire movie, they're going to be doing a remake on that. Now, coming September 2022 is when it's going to come out. So that's going to premiere next year. That's also another little thing that I'm actually kind of a little excited about. And then the only other thing that I actually have for y'all is, if you're familiar with the old 1997 film, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Don't get Chris started.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Huh? You're familiar with that?
Yeah, he mentioned it like a week or 2 ago, like on the last podcast. He had said some joke. He's like, I know what you did last summer. He mentioned.
You know what it was? Is because there was something like when someone drove up to somebody, she just said, "Yeah, but you can wipe that my shit don't stink smile off your face."
Out of all the lines, that's the one he's known for, dude. That's the one that he knows it for.
That douchebag was the first kill that I cheered for in that movie.
Oh, well, guess what? They're making a whole TV series out of that, and that's going to be on Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, I'll watch that.
Yeah, it'll be 8 episodes, so I can only think that they're probably going to just be like an hour long. But I'm not. There's a teaser trailer out now. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be previous to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, or if this is after those two movies. But either way, find it pretty interesting. That's going to be something to look out for. So just kind of, I'll probably mention it again as we get a little more closer to its debut date. As of right now, I only have a teaser trailer. There's no spot-on date. So I'll mention that again as we get closer.
Hey, Gabe, you remember on Scary Movie, remember fucking that one scene where the homeless guy walks up to the girls and he asks him for $1? So, oh, you just need something. Here you are, sir. He goes, I said $1, bitch.
Oh, what the? Honestly, it's been so long since I've watched this. I've always considered this movie like
I remember that part.
Scream.
I remember that part, but I want Chris to do the exact same thing about these movies that we're doing, dude. He's gonna get those other movies over because he's seen them a bit, but I want to know how many impressions he's gonna do of Halloween 2018, dude. That's the real showstopper. So you can do a few impressions of that shit, and I'll start slow clapping for the motherfucker. But yeah, I said $1, bitch. Yeah, I remember throws a sandwich at her or whatever the fuck she gives him.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. I mean, there's a couple of other movies that were they just had a good run, like since like the whole Scream thing too. The whole mysterious man behind the mask or in the shadows or in the dark, and then they go around killing people one by one, and they're all running around trying to figure out who the killer is.
Normal people. Yeah,
it was a good run during the 90s, but it is what it is.
They try to get horror to be where it's not a supernatural element, it's just a person that's crazy going after people, dude. So
yeah, I mean, it's a good mixture to have of both. I mean, I like the supernatural theme, and then, to go ahead and actually have like an actual, like, just a regular psycho person out there. I mean,
you're talking to one over here on the other side, right there.
Dude, that's my favorite dish. That's my favorite dish right there. Is like the psycho, sociopath, stalker, crazy.
I wonder why. Chris.
Fucking Samuel L. Jackson does great at that. Fucking that movie Disturbia. Fucking also with Nick Nolte and Robert De Niro. Cape Fear.
Leg slap. Chris loves the thrillers, dude. He's a thriller guy. He's not gonna get over this movie like that. I tell you right now. So Chris,
I'm listening.
What can you tell me about Halloween 2008, man? How was your viewing? How many times you seen this? And how are the buffalo chicken quesadillas?
Always, man. There's never anything wrong with those, but just having to wait on someone to have a little meeting after work. But other than that, it was very good. And it was cool. What do you call it? This is actually, I started on this a year ago. I want to say it was a little before Halloween, the actual date. And I bought it, and I started watching. I got literally probably 45 minutes in, and then.
So that means he got 20 minutes in. Well, go ahead.
No. It was 45. I remember it, and then we just didn't do it. We decided to do something else for one of the movies to cover. But yeah, I mean, I'll give you my rating later.
Man, super disappointing. This is like the most depressing podcast I've ever been across of, dude. He's like getting Scary Movie over. I Know What You Did Last Summer over, but he's just like, well, I started this one about a year ago. Didn't really care about finishing it, but yeah.
I did care. Different, but I mean, this movie means more now today than it did 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. What was it, babe? Was it Tuesday night? It was Tuesday night. Okay, Tuesday night when I finished it, because I learned something about this movie, and we'll talk about that down the road on this podcast. But I learned something about this movie that I did not know, and had I known that, I might have had a different prism of view on this.
Just say it now. Say it. We talked about it last night. I don't know why you're holding something in the pocket and then you're gonna like blurt it out towards the end. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead and say it. Good fucking say it.
You gotta tell people you're gonna get into something and keep them listening.
Yeah, they really want to keep listening now, old CJ. Anyway, Gabe, go ahead and tell us your backstory on 2018's Halloween, dude. It's like, were you popping when this shit was gonna come out, or what's going on with this one with you?
Oh, of course. I think from our previous podcasts, I ended up talking to Chris when I was actually saying like, look, regardless of how bad the movie is, I think when we were talking about Resurrection, I'm even though I know the movie would still, and whether if it's going to be good or bad, I'm still going to watch it because it's such an iconic character and I love the whole Halloween theme. I'm definitely going to go and watch the damn movie. So, of course, when I saw the damn title, and I found out that they're coming out with a new Halloween, yeah, of course, I got all excited. I was like, hell yeah, I need to reserve tickets. Is it going to be sold out? I was thrilled, like so excitedly when I found out they were bringing out a new one. Now, the whole 2018, though, and we kind of had this little talk earlier with Chris because he was looking for certain characters that were from Halloween H2O. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, that this Halloween 2018 takes place after part 1. So if you're following all the movies directly, like the way they're coming out, they do not match up. All the movies, it's like you have part 1, the original Halloween, and that's like the root. This whole thing is like a tree, and then from there it just branches out. So depending on how you want to watch the Halloween movie series, you can either see Michael Myers' demise, you can see how he actually succeeds, or you can actually see how they take it down a more spiritual element side. Now, this is a whole new take on it. The 2018, it's a trilogy coming out where it's Halloween the original, then you got Halloween, this one, the 2018, then you got Halloween Kills, which is just around the corner, and then you got Halloween Ends. Now, there's nothing talking about Halloween Ends, but from gathering from the trailers and everything that we've seen about Halloween Kills, that one's gonna be more of an action movie. That one's gonna be just straight up, I'm gonna mess people up. This is it. Michael Myers is pissed. That's it. We're gonna talk about this first one, and this is pretty much the backstory of after everything that left off from the original Halloween. So again, you pick your poison. You even got the Rob Zombie Halloweens, which are also a side story from all these other movies. Excuse me?
I'm very curious about those.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a retake of it's like a remake of the original Halloween and these other ones combined. What makes this Halloween 2018 so special, though, not just because, it's been a while since we've actually had another Michael Myers film, but what makes it special, spoiler alert, just kind of hold off a bit. Michael Myers is not the brother of Laurie Strode.
I thought you were going to say Michael Myers is not a real boy.
He's not the killer. He's the good guy. He's the victim in this movie.
Laurie's actually coming after him, and he's just an innocent, guy trying to trick or treat, but he's an old man now. Yeah, that's the twist.
Honestly, that's not even too far from the damn truth.
It's pretty ridiculous, right? This fucking
it really is. Pretty much like with this whole 2018, and there's not even much to it. So I'm just gonna kind of touch here and there because I think we want to talk more about Michael Myers and what he's doing, how he's doing things, and why he's doing things in comparison to Laurie. We already know the damn backstory with Laurie Strode. She got attacked by this damn killer in a white mask, and then all of a sudden we find out, later on, she's traumatized by the whole damn thing. And pretty much it leads off, this is taking the story where she's older. This is 40 years later on down the road. She had a kid. She was so traumatized and she's got that PTSD that so much so that she has her own like house, and she built like a training ground and taught her daughter, how to survival skills, because she suspected that Michael's going to come back one day, which we already knew that was going to happen. But the movie kind of focuses on her issue of being traumatized, being attacked, and the movie kind of leads off into that. It gives you that idea. It gives you that perspective of like women that are raped or attacked or murdered or attempted to be murdered and stuff like that. It's showing you from their perspective like what it's like to be traumatized. And they make a point of it where the new Dr. Loomis, the real actor, ended up passing away, but in this one they ended up coming out with another psychiatrist that watches over Michael.
And gave my interpretation of that, because I remember a line from the movie, like kind of halfway through it, I think, or maybe a third of the way through the movie, when that doctor shows up.
Sartain.
And he says, "I was a student of, Loomis was my mentor," or something like that.
Right. That's correct in there. And so he is pretty much he's the turning point in this movie. So as we get the whole beginning, and they're introducing the characters, because Laurie Strode had a daughter. The daughter got taken away by social services because they thought the mother was putting her through mental abuse, but that wasn't really the case. She really was just trying to prepare her for the worst for the day Michael Myers returns. But, of course, leave it to everybody else. This is like 40 years later, and then that daughter ended up growing up. She ended up having her own daughter. So now Laurie Strode is like a grandmother. This is 40 years later. Anyways, they end up visiting Michael in this insane asylum. And again, the new Dr. Loomis ends up expressing, saying, look, he can talk, but he doesn't want to talk, just like we always know. But he's obsessed with them. And
he's like, he doesn't like to talk when he's eating. He's like Chris, dude.
He don't like to talk for anything. He doesn't mention anything, no grunts or groans. The most he'll do is even look. Like he'll just kind of give you like a little side eye, what's going on.
Since you're talking about that part, like, overall, like my favorite pieces of the movie are like this whole beginning piece, like the first 15, 20 minutes. And then the part where Michael's out on Halloween night and he goes on his little brief killing spree. But yeah, this is like my favorite part of the film. It's like a great way to introduce like an iconic character again, but like not in, it's a good way to bring him back to like as crazy as they do bring him back in his full wardrobe. But this is a cool way to introduce him back and get that horror movie icon vibe. Where he's kind of just vulnerable. He's just there, just chilling in the sun. I'm like, Michael? But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like, if you end up remembering the first one, how he broke out with a bunch of crazies, and he ended up stealing the car, and everyone always questioned, like, how the hell did he learn how to drive, Exactly, like it's 2018 version.
Maybe some around here we giving him lessons.
Yeah, it's the same shit. It's the same weird shit but see, on this though, it gives you, you're under the suspicion or the idea, the reason why he broke out, along with he's being transferred to another facility, but the doctor, the new Dr. Loomis, ends up busting him out though.
Yeah.
He ends up, he's so obsessed with trying to figure out why Michael is the way he is. Why does he kill? Why does he do anything? We always hear about the victim, but what about the victimizer? What happens to Michael every time he kills? Does he feel like he's getting stronger? Does he feel more intense, or does he hurt even more? What makes him tick? So anyways, the doctor ends up figuring out like there's only one way to really see how he is, why he is the way he is. Let's go ahead and bust him out. So that's exactly what happens. He busts Michael out. Michael goes on a killing spree, but instead of just going on a random killing spree, he's actually heading towards Laurie Strode. He ends up picking up little things here and there and ends up finding his way back to Laurie. And here, Laurie's an alcoholic. She has PTSD. She has all the bad stuff, and the family's just like, just get over it.
She's got that. She's got that horrible wig.
interesting thing, on the holistic view of the movie and the actors, actresses, what the cast, she really is 15. Jamie Lee Curtis, it really is. I almost said Jamie Lee Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis is 59 when they filmed this.
So she's playing true to life age, huh?
Yeah, well, no, I think she looks more like 69. But the thing is,
yeah, she looks old. Well, the thing is that I think that because in H2O, and this is basically H4O, which is also a name that we're going to use for it, is that Jamie Lee has short hair, and they just went with that in the 96 or 97, whatever year it was when they did that one, or 99. What year? Was it 97?
98 when it came out.
Okay. She had short hair, and like now to kind of go back to the original, they try to get that long hair gimmick back. So I that's why I think that they kind of kept the long hair, is to kind of differentiate from the H2O and kind of be more of the original, because I think it would have been less distracting if she had short hair, with this thing.
It's just crazy to think, because like when she came out on Trading Places, which was in '83, and she said she was 24. I didn't believe it. Was like, bullshit, she's 24. She's like 30, No, sure, she was fucking 24 in Trading Places, and she's fucking 59 here, and she was fucking my age during H2O.
Son of a bitch! I had a thing for Jamie Lee Curtis on True Lies. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm not. I'm the only one. Okay.
She was like a woman, prior to this decade, anyway.
Yeah, but the interesting thing I found when I was, I watched the movie, I always do a little bit of research, is the director, David Gordon Green. Well, I started laughing. I thought this film was going to be trash, not because they're doing a remake, but I heard Danny McBride was gonna help out with the writing. I'm like, fucking Danny McBride, Pineapple Express, Tropic Thunder, Danny McBride. I'm like, what the fuck, I just thought that was like, this guy is not gonna. He's got too much humor. I mean, is he going to do a good job? And then, sure enough, I thought he did not amazing, but it was a good job. I mean, better than a lot of the sequels we had gotten. But also, the director, he did I think he was the director of Pineapple Express and some other shit. But anyway, the most interesting thing that I had read was that this director was going to do the remake of Suspiria. And I forget the girl's name, but she comes out in Black Swan. But she was supposed to do Suspiria because she was all getting ready to do the ballet, but something fell through or whatever, so she did Black Swan instead. But I thought that was cool. I was like, well, I do like how this guy works the camera and tells the story, because I love Suspiria, the remake, and then this one, all the Michael scenes, how they're able to kind of copy and mimic, John Carpenter's kind of scenes where it's just kind of like no cuts, and it's just Michael kind of going crazy on all the hood rats and old ladies.
And the old ladies.
And the old ladies, both. Equals. Yeah. He's an equal slasher, dude.
Actually, what was very interesting about that too? In this movie, and I've always looked I've always ended up watching the older movies, and I don't remember him actually end up killing any kids, and until in this movie, he actually killed a young boy who seemed about. Man, he looked at least like 12 or 13 years old. And I think out of this whole movie, that was like that wasn't the most intense part, but I think right after that, when he was going on his killing spree into the neighborhood, he just ended up killing this woman in the kitchen. As he was walking out, there was a young infant. And when I say infant, I mean I'm not even playing 1-2-year-old baby in the damn crib. And I kid you not, I kind of cringed up a bit because I was thinking oh, that's it. That baby's going to get thrown through the window. Mm-hmm. He's going to get smashed. They're going to kill him for sure. Man, Michael looked at him. He was just like, whatever. And he just walked off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, it was one of those moments, right? You're like, well, he's already fucked up. He might, and I was like, it was one of those moments to where they fuck with you. I don't know if Chris got worked up or he was just too dazed to notice it, dude.
Well, I here's the thing that's on my mind. Here's the thing I'm asking this ever since I learned what I learned today about this movie. Is this so direct as a sequel to Part 1 that we assume the events of Part 2 didn't even happen? We just, Michael falls out the window and then you look again and he's gone, not even an imprint on the ground. Is it that direct to the end of Part 1, or is it we assume Part 1 and 2 happened and then that's it? Then it goes to this.
It's just part one. Just part one, and then
yeah, it's just part one, and it's direct after that.
So even the shitty part didn't even happen.
yeah, he's not on fire. Did you see? Was it all on fire? Did you see him? That's why. That's why you can't have. Yeah, that's why you can't really continue with part two. Is because it's so. I mean, it's like a good ending if you're just doing one and two, but I mean, it doesn't really flow with the rest of the series and all that shit. And like I know a lot of people like love part two, but I like this. This one was really fun for me, man, from beginning to end. Well, except for the family, I just couldn't stand their asses.
No, I completely agree with you. That family was stupid, especially the dad. The father of, Laurie Strode ended up having her kid, and that kid ended up having her whole family. The father of that family, it was lame. It was just not good. He's supposed to be like the protector, or usually he plays that role, but clearly he showed a lot of incompetence throughout that movie, that he ended up getting his butt killed.
Yeah. And
funny enough, good for the women. They were all strong, independent women. They were able to hold their own and whoop Michael Myers' ass.
I agree with you on that, Gabe. Oh, good.
No, I'm sorry. Go for it.
I was going to say, because, just from the get-go, they make him seem like this jackass, like, stupid mice want to get under my sink, well, I'm going to try peanut butter instead of marshmallows this time. It's like that's like the toughest thing about him is killing fucking rodents in his house.
Exactly, and see, that's why I thought he was very. I'm not sure. Like I said, I think the right word that I used for that was incompetent. So I think, he did not show any kind of dominance. He didn't show any kind of concern or safety, other than when Laurie Strode, she broke into her daughter's house saying, I could have killed you. Well, what are you doing here, Mom? You're not even supposed to be here. And she was all like trying to express, like, no. You got to understand, how did I get in? Not why I'm here. And if I can get in, that means anybody can. Michael Myers, his bus crashed, so he's going to be on the way. Yeah. And here's the husband's like, look, I think you should go. I think you should leave right now. I kid you not. He just wasn't...
Well, they're all like that. I couldn't stand like the family. Like, we won't get into them, but it's just like the whole thing is that they're all frowning upon her, and they're all like, oh, well, you pushed your daughter away. Her, Judy Greer, who's a pretty famous actress, like, she's like the daughter that's, doesn't believe her mom. So the whole family just doesn't like really have. She's an alcoholic, and you're just like, well, that. So the best thing for this, the only reason to watch is Michael Myers. All this other side shit's kind of annoying, that everyone doesn't believe Jamie Lee Curtis or Laurie Strode after what happened. They just think she's paranoid. And I mean, I think if that shit happened to you, you would be like, well, yeah, you should always be prepared for shit like someone breaks into your house. I was laughing that she's been preparing with like a bunch of like rifles, like one-shot rifles, instead of like actual like real shit. You know what I mean? I would have been more strapped than just regular like one-shot rifles and shit. So.
Yeah. Well, she shows that she has like different tactical rifles. She had a shotgun.
I remember the shotgun.
The revolver never jams, and then she had the shotgun. She says this is good. This is more of a tactical shotgun. You don't want to be that close. You don't want to be that close to Michael. You want to be with the assault rifle from about 50 yards away, just firing at his ass, man. She's got it all wrong. Yeah, definitely. She wants to be at a good distance, but I think at that point she was just kind of assuming that maybe she would have been by herself, and so I think having all those weaponry, she had it in her back pocket, just in case if he ended up having to get in close. Which another part which I thought was silly, she saw Michael was outside, but yet she on her house she ended up putting a rebar. She put right on her door to kind of keep that whole door shut to keep them from coming in. Well, that door ends up having like little glass windows. You would think she would stay away from the door and at least have a gun pointed at it, or at least any of the entrances to that house. But instead, she was leaning up against it, and of course, she thought like, okay, well, maybe he just kind of walked off or something. All of a sudden, what happens? He just busts right through the window and starts choking the hell out of her. But leave it to Michael. He sees the gun and he's grabbing the gun, but he grabs it from the end of the barrel. And so leave it to Laurie to go ahead and just pull that trigger and blow 2 of his fingers off.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, seriously, why are you going to put yourself against a window? Usually you have your back against a wall if you're talking about being tactical and all that. But
my dad said when he was in... Oh, good.
No, you're cool.
My dad said when he was in the cops, he said they always trained us, like, whenever you go anywhere, you always want to sit with your back against the inner wall of wherever. Like, if you're at the bank sitting there waiting for someone to come talk to you, like, you sit with your back inside wall and you're looking outside the building so that if you see someone you perceive as a threat entering, you already see them, you're already ready for it.
Yeah, you don't know Chris's dad's first name is Rambo, dude?
Oh, Rambo.
My dad was infantry, dude. He was cop and he was infantry.
I know he's a tough guy, Chris. He's like you, dude.
Not even close, man.
He's the toughest guy here.
I'm telling my dad. My dad's not even close now.
I'm pretty sure your dad would put up a good fight against Michael. But then you know, if you look at Michael though, like he just seems to have like a one-track mind. I think we were talking, or I think you, Chris, you ended up mentioning like there was something demonic about him because he has like some abnormal strength. And honestly, like in my opinion, I was thinking about that and I was like, I don't think they're trying to go with a spiritual route. But I mean, I kind of feel like, man, there's a word that I want to say, but I know it's politically wrong, and we shouldn't probably say it.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, that our strength, but
exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean. Those guys are kind of special or whatever, and I try to say it in the nicest way.
Yeah, I was like, what is he saying?
I mean, that's the only thing that comes to my mind right now. Yeah. I'm sorry, but
it sounds something like the way someone from the deep south would say they're retired.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, but it's he has to. Yeah, and then like crazy people like they I mean, I've heard stories where people like that are not even on drugs, like they'll take some crazy amount of pain and shit. So they're just crazy.
There are certain people that they have like a medical disability where their nerves and stuff like that don't function right, so they can tolerate like a high amount of pain. So Michael Myers might kind of be on that kind of spectrum there, where if he ends up if he's getting shot, he got 2 of his fingers blown off. The most he did was grunt. I mean, throughout this whole movie, that is like the most he did was like grunt.
Speaking about not just the grunting, but I like how they didn't show his eyes like the way they've been doing the past fucking Halloweens. I saw like a meme that like no,
actually, they did.
They did. And
yes, towards the end, as we get to the end of the damn movie, the whole house was nothing more than a trap. Laurie Strode knew that she wasn't going to be able to take him down. I don't know why, but she already felt like she wasn't going to be able to. She rigged her whole house to be a trap where it was releasing gas, and she had like
stupidest shit ever.
She had little heat, kind of little metal bars or something, kind of rigged so they heat up and they trigger off the gas so it can set her house on fire. So Michael Myers got trapped in the basement. Yeah, there's like some kind of metal bars that end up trapping him down there. And while the whole house is burning up, Laurie Strode is like, "Oh, goodbye, Michael," and he's looking up at her, and at that moment you can see his eyes because of the light from the fire. So you actually do see his eyes, but he has that pissed off look where he's all like, "You son of a bitch, I'm gonna get you."
But this movie, it wasn't. I 100% agree with Joe. This is of all the movies post Part 1. This was the best mask, and it's not a perfect mask. It is not the Part 1 mask, but it's getting back to what it needed to be.
I always watch, like I tell you, the reviews of people that like do all these just because it's like usually because they'll say something funny, and one of them like what was that, and I popped when the reporters are showing Michael his mask, and this guy goes, "Boo! Bring back the Part 4 pink mask." When that one scene where he's got like a pink hair or something like that, I started laughing. I was like, I completely forgot about that mask, dude. But it was like exactly. We've had some horrible masks throughout the fucking years, Part 1's my favorite. Part 2's pretty badass. A little bit, the width changed a little bit, but yeah, that Part 1 mask is perfect, and then it's this one for me. But good.
Man, the Part 2 mask is like what does it for me. I love the Part 6 mask, the Curse of Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. There's something about that mask that I really like. It looks like it has like a dark look to it. Like it looks like it's more like. Mm-hmm. It has more facial features in comparison to the other ones. I hated Part 4 and Part 5, man.
They're laughable, right? They're like so fucking shitty.
They're ridiculous. But
how can you go into a production like, well, this is our mask that we have? I just started laughing and shit.
You know what? Like, I think Chris was right. Honestly, this mask is like really good, and it's more accurate only because, well, if you think about it, like, where the hell has the mask been sitting? You know, all these little cheapy masks that you can probably go ahead and get from Walmart or Kmart or something like that. They deteriorate over time. And so ever since those murders, where the hell has that mask has been sitting in? I think they said it was sitting in one of the
Attorney Generals or something like that.
Yeah, it's just been sitting in a shelf, and then it was evidence at one point, so it's probably been sitting in a plastic bag getting heat and dust and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like honestly, that mask, I'm surprised has lasted that long. I'm surprised it doesn't have holes. Honestly, if you look at the Rob Zombies version, I mean the Part 1 looked all right, but then Part 2 seemed more accurate because that thing was falling apart. Like there was nothing really holding it up. Even though it's latex.
He doesn't really wear it too much in Part 2, right? He's like doing the homeless gimmick, or is that a Part 1 where he's doing the homeless gimmick too?
No. Part 2 is the whole homeless gimmick at that point.
Yeah.
They got him. They ended up shooting him, and then he ends up, barely surviving. But yeah, he does the whole homeless thing for a little while, and when he's ready to kill or start attacking, then he busts out he'll put on the mask back on.
He's like a superhero.
Yeah, but the mask has like a huge hole in it, and his beard is all horribly big because he doesn't shave.
Yeah.
So he doesn't shave. So now he has like a big ass beard sticking out through that. Honestly, like I kind of agree though that this mask it seems a little more accurate. Part 2, I don't know if you guys have already seen, but for this Halloween Kills. It's already shown like in the trailer, like they show his face along with the fire and everything, and half of the face has been burnt.
Yeah.
And so like it has like a horrible kind of distorted look to the mask because it's melted. It looks really awesome. If y'all have been paying attention to like eBay, or if you go on like Pinterest, or you go on Instagram, there's people that are making like these FX. That's their jobs. That's what these people like to do. That's their hobbies. They like making FX mask and custom Halloween mask and custom stuff. They do this like for fun. They do it all year. And anyways, there's quite a few people out there already making the Halloween Kills mask. And man, I tell you anything, those things look fantastic. I love how they spray paint and they put all the touches of like black and brown on there. Looks crazy good. They won a lot of bucks, but I can only imagine like they put time and money into that, so it's worth the money.
Detective with a cowboy hat, man. And here's the interesting thing about this too is like I don't know, we now know, by the way. I don't know if y'all. I'm a geography mark, so I have to pay attention to these things and then immediately go on Google Maps and see where some place is. So we know it's Haddonfield, Illinois. We've always known that, right? But right. Now the sheriff car pulls up and it says Warren County. Okay, so if it's Warren County, Illinois, I actually decided, is that a real fucking place? And sure enough, it is. And it's an hour south of Davenport, Iowa, and East Moline, Illinois, that metro area that's divided by the Mississippi River. And it's about 45 minutes south of that. That's where Haddonfield, Illinois, the Michael Myers town, that is where the fuck that is. So road trip, one day we'll go there and be bored to death. But anyway.
Just so y'all know that. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking to myself, like, maybe I'm stereotyping, but like, come on, you're gonna have a black guy wearing a cowboy hat in a small town in southern Illinois. I mean, like, what the fuck, man? But I don't know.
Some of these iconic characters, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, like Freddy Krueger, and then you got Michael Myers. All their houses and places like that are where they filmed those houses. Usually, like, if you pay attention, sometimes they'll go ahead and say, like, hey, check this out. The iconic house for Nightmare on Elm Street is actually up for grabs. You can actually go ahead and buy the house.
Oh,
and
yeah.
of course, and same thing with Michael Myers. That the actual house, there's people that live there. The Nightmare on Elm Street, like I was mentioning, was up for grabs at one point, but of course they won it like crazy amount of money, just because of where they filmed it and everything. They also have, I think, even Evil Dead at one point had their cabin, but that thing burnt down. Like the original cabin that they filmed ended up. Yeah, that thing ended up burning down at some point or another.
It was fuck with that basement trap and the fucking demon woman coming out of there and shit.
Yep.
But this detective, though, I love what he says. Like, he chuckles like, Michael Myers killing people on Halloween. Are you ready for the media circus on that one?
Before we forget, talk about the cowboy hat. You can't forget about the Daniel isn't real guy, dude. I was popping when I saw him. Dave Miles Robbins from Daniel isn't real. I forgot his name in the Daniel isn't real, but yeah, I popped. I was like, because I had seen this movie before, and like I guess and I didn't recognize that he put them together when I saw Daniel isn't real. The podcast we did a few weeks ago. But when I saw it this time, I knew right away. I was like, "Oh, my man," because you start recognizing what you do enough horror movies, you start recognizing motherfuckers. So it was good to see him die again.
Yeah, it was pretty neat too. Like exactly like when I was watching it, he looked very familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on him. And then
I couldn't put my finger in him.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Not even with two fingers, I couldn't do it. And, so then I was watching it, and then you were end up mentioning it, and I was like, look, it's the Daniel Isn't Real. I was like, oh, snap, yeah, that is the Daniel Isn't Real. That's pretty funny. I was like, oh, that guy is dead, oh, well, sorry, guy. Mm-hmm. So he ended up dying. Who I enjoyed was the little kid in there, man. The one with the babysitter.
Oh, shit.
He's all like, man, you're over there talking about you're going to be smoking weed, and I'm over here clipping my nasty-ass toenails. I kid you not, that kid was a good comedy relief out of that damn...
It was a good thing to just throw into a horror movie because you're not expecting it, and it was done so well. It's like, yeah, you get those shit in there that you're not expecting. But when you're not expecting it, and they have that charm, like just like it's believable. This family was so over the top and stupid. I didn't give a fuck. But that little kid was on there for 5-10 minutes, and it was the most memorable thing as far as like characters in the film than anything besides Michael and shit. And yeah. I mean they should have focused on more shit. Like doesn't have to be. Comedy per se, but it just like, hey, believability. Like I believe that kid he wasn't even acting. I know he's just like that at home.
Yeah, like you can see his face. He was just like when the babysitter was inside the room and she was like checking to see if the boogeyman was there. She was looking around, and the little boy is like right there by the stairway, and he's just like, you can see his face. Like he just looks like, oh man, is she gonna find something? Mm-hmm. Oh no, I didn't find anything. I told you there was nothing. So he comes in the room and he's like, oh okay, and she sees the closet door, and he's the little boy. I think he ends up saying like, can you close the closet door? And she's like, yeah. So she tries to close it, but it doesn't close, and she's like, what the hell? She does it again like 2 or 3 times, and she thinks there's something like stuck on the floor that's making the door prop open. Again, there's Michael Myers standing right there. The boogeyman actually was inside the house, and he was right there inside the closet holding the door open. So he ends up attacking her. But there's some moments like that, if you think about it, like, why is Michael Myers choose that random house? Why does he choose that random house and decide to, like, hey, I'm going to stand in this closet for the next 3 hours?
The whole movie's like that. It's like, out of, like, the whole neighborhood that, Jamie Lee Curtis or Laurie Strode looks up and sees Michael Myers in the reflection in the mirror, and that's how they kind of get, come across each other. And then they start the chase, and it's just kind of like, okay, and then just a lot of moments like that I thought were, like, funny. Like you said, it just didn't make sense. You just have to, like, oh, well, as long as the Michael parts are cool, just keep them coming.
And I can say, in that house scene, what I like the fake out. Like, you got
when she shoots, right?
The ghost sheet person, and you don't know if that's Michael or if that's a victim, but it leaves you that element of mystery until they actually take off the sheet, That's good adrenalizing. That's good focusing of concentration. I like that.
See, I'm not sure if that was even, I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just like, let's just put that as a ghost in the thing, because if you remember in the original one, Michael was under the ghost sheet before he ended up attacking what's her name, the actress PJ.
That's right.
Yeah, he ends up dressing up as a ghost and he ends up killing her. So I guess in a way I was like thinking like, oh man, is that going to be him? Is he just sitting there for another 3 hours until someone pulls off the curtain?
Yeah.
And he's going to kill someone?
Linda.
No, there's a dead body under there. Okay, never mind. Disappointing, I guess.
Interpret when they're out in the country, on a little country road, and they're in the cop car. What's his name? Karen Strode's daughter. Stop the car and I'll tell you what he said.
Right, right.
And remember, there's just the fucking mask, and that's it. And suddenly, out of thin air, he full body appears in the back of that fucking cop car. So where was he hiding that he then appeared?
No,
Where you were asking where he disappeared with the cop car when it ended up stopping? He just went into the woods.
And it was just her and the mask, and then suddenly there he is, full body.
Oh no! Oh, he was the doctor, the psychiatrist ended up shoving him in the back of the seat, which is weird because he was shot in the shoulder earlier in the movie, and then he got shot and so they fixed him up and they put him in a bandage sling for his arm. Well, anyways, he ends up attacking the police officer. Ends up hitting Michael Myers with that police vehicle and knocks him out.
Right.
And so the police officer is like, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and kill him." The doctor's like, "No." He pulls out this pin that has a little knife in it, kills the police officer. So then, as silly as this is, the psychiatrist ends up picking up the Halloween mask. He takes off Michael Myers' mask and he puts it on.
I remember that.
The girl, the Allison, the granddaughter of Laurie Strode, she's like in the back seat. She's like, oh, she can't get out because it's a police car. Right. So he goes ahead and he's all talking. So he opens the door, and then before you know it, it jumps scenes to where now all of a sudden the psychiatrist is in the front seat and he's talking to the girl.
Right.
And Michael Myers is in the back seat. So at that point, you would have to think, okay, he got him in there, and I know Allison's still trapped in there, and I know she wouldn't stay, helping, like, here, let me get this body in here, and then I'll stay in the back seat with you. No, she wouldn't do that. How he ended up getting Michael Myers in the back seat as big as he is, and with an injured arm, they skipped that whole scene, but
that's okay. Thank you.
Huh?
That's the clarification I was looking for, because I was like, are they going that far with trying to show Michael Myers has some supernatural powers where he, like, suddenly appears full body out of thin air into the mask? I'm like, no way. They're not going to go that far with explaining the nature of Michael Myers. I was like, that's too much explanation. too much giving away his power. So I was like, so that's what threw me off. But that's what you said right there. They didn't show him. They didn't actually show him actually getting put in the car.
Right. And I think the reason why they skip, a lot of people don't really mention any of that only because they're more infatuated. Like at this point, that was the turning point for the doctor to know that he was able to kill a police officer just for his own infatuation with Michael. Like he's his own fascination with Michael. Like why is he so obsessed with Michael? And we're all dumbfounded. We're like, why is he doing this? He should be trying to help people, not trying to hurt people. Why is he doing it? Oh no, and no one really kind of questioned. And I bet you there are a few people that did question that, like you. And I honestly feel like they really did say, like, how the hell did Michael get in back there when the girl was trapped in the back seat, Michael was in the back seat, and the damn doctor, his arm is in a sling that he couldn't even move it, not even when he was attacking the police officer. So how did Michael get back there? No, he didn't just float or reappear in there. You have to assume he picked him up and shoved his ass in there. If Michael was fully conscious, he would have killed the doctor, which he did down the road. But
he smashed the fuck out of his face.
Yeah, there's no way he was gonna. There's no way he was gonna go ahead and willingly. Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and jump in the back seat. I ain't got nothing else.
And that
got damn vehicle. Shit.
But that doctor, the other thing, not knowing until this morning that this was a direct lineage from part 1 to part 1 only, having thought this was inclusive of all the movies that ever made in the franchise, I was thinking to myself, well, fuck, if you're the protege of Loomis, then your mentor Loomis had to at some point have said to you what he said in part 4, which I've looked into his eyes and there's something.
Had to be someone around here giving him lessons.
Yeah, that. It's like I've looked into his eyes. I've seen there's something not human there, something dark or something demonic.
And then they show the H2O like eye sockets, so they're all completely cut out. You can see his eyes, the devil's eyes.
Thank you.
Fucking meme.
When are they gonna make a parody of Halloween? But anyway, that's the thing. Like, so you would have had to know that, and you're so lost. You're trying to be Simon LeVay here and prove that, like, there's some kind of brain chemical features that are making him act this way. No, if you're Loomis's protege, you would know he's just pure evil, like your own boss thought. But I mean, now I know that it wasn't inclusive of part 4.
Yeah, but if you think about it, this is I would have to compare this to the damn that box from Hellraiser. The reason why I'm making the comparison is because the people that know that there's something wrong with the box and they know this thing is attracting evil or there's something completely wrong, they're still fascinated with the idea, like, I want to know or I need to know what's going on so I can mess with it. That curiosity is getting the best of them, and that's the trouble with like in this movie. That's what happened to this damn doctor. The fascination just kind of consumed him with Michael. That was the whole reason why he busted him out of the damn hospital. That was the whole reason why he killed the cop and was trying to get Michael Myers to Laurie Strode. I mean, honestly, that obsession just, regardless, he knew how bad it was. He's still helping it out, even though there's really no spiritual evil or anything with Michael. It's just the damn doctor, helping out a freaking psychopath. And right. There was an old comment that Jamie Lee Curtis ended up saying from San Diego Comic-Con a couple years back before the movie appeared. They were saying the terrifying thing about this movie is what makes it so terrifying, or what they were hoping for, was the random acts of violence. And they said in comparison to like the other ones where he had a goal and it was just about the chase, this one is just, he's just doing some random shit. Like if you saw one of the police officers Michael ended up carving up, remember he carved up his face and shoved the freaking flashlight down his neck?
Yeah.
Just to make his face look like a pumpkin? And then standing in the damn closet for like I don't know, 2-3 hours. It's just some stupid shit that he's doing. And all he's doing is just that's the movie. What it comes across as is a woman that was victimized a long time ago, and she's having to deal with that PTSD, and now she's having to relive all that shit all over again. But at the same time, Michael is just, there's honestly in this movie it doesn't really come across as anything spiritual. I made a comment earlier today saying I kind of feel like the way this movie, and assuming depending on how part 2 goes, which is Halloween Kills, I kind of feel that it's going to lead back to part 1, where it's going to be some kind of child trauma, where he was secretly molested, or he got hit on the head when no one was looking, when the sister should have been watching out for him, and that triggered him. Or it's gonna. I kind of feel, and I'm gonna place a whole dollar as a bet, $1 to the fact that I bet you it's just gonna relate to his child trauma and not some kind of spiritual thing. We already saw the spiritual element with the whole what's her face? I can't remember her name. The little girl that dressed up as a clown. We saw her in part 4 and 5.
Jamie Gray.
Yeah, Jamie. We already saw that whole thing, and then the curse of Michael Myers and the stars aligning because of a native tribe and all that. No, we already saw that. We saw the spiritual side. Then we saw the Rob Zombie version where it was. I mean, he came from a dysfunctional family. It messed him up as a kid, and he just kind of got messed up from that. And he was abused, and he abused animals, and he just kind of went on that crazy path too. Depending on however way you choose Michael Myers, and I'm really happy that they're showing all these different versions of that. It's kind of like watching the damn Marvel movies, like Marvel comic books. Like you end up seeing one version where Spider-Man is Spider-Man, another version where Spider-Man doesn't become Spider-Man. He's a bad guy. There's just so many different versions of Michael, and I love these films. But in particular, though, like I said, I think this is more of just he's just a crazy psychopath, another Ed Gein, if you want. An actual serial killer. That Texas Chainsaw Massacre was actually based off. You have the whole Leatherface thing, and a bunch of crazy people just out there ready to kill. And like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis ended up mentioning, she said that's what's supposed to make this movie scary, is just that it's more, the random acts of violence, because it's more real. That shit can happen. There are nuts. There are nuts and crazy people out there. Which honestly, I'm like, man, it terrifies me to even think of something like that, but that shit does happen. You're walking down the street and all of a sudden you get punched in the damn face for no damn reason. What the hell was that? You looked at me? No, I wasn't. I wasn't even looking at you. I was looking at that Taco Bell across the street, thinking about getting a taco. Fuck that. I wanted to punch your face because you looked at me. Sure. Not that that's happened to me, but I have looked at Taco Bell several times.
And if Mark was here on this podcast, he'd say, well, shit, he should get punched in the face. He was looking at Taco Bell. That food's crap.
Than all that, I mean, my two other scenes that stand out, we were talking about how the family sucks. Like, they kind of fucked up the sequel for me, because it's like there's no real other aspect. I mean, of course, Michael's the reason to go see it, and Jamie's already old, or Laurie, but the whole family kind of sucked, so I don't really have any, there's no reason for I don't really see a good story going other than Michael killing anybody in the sequel. But the kills in this one were awesome. Where that one guy Oscar, that kind of looks kind of like a weirdo, he gets like stabbed in the head and like put on a spire or something when he tries to kiss Laurie's granddaughter, and then the intro kills where they kill the reporters were fucking brutal. I loved it, but I don't know if y'all want to talk about those real quick before we close out.
Yeah, well, I mean that kid that was it was funny because he was he got rejected by Allison, the granddaughter of Laurie Strode.
Yeah,
and he thought because the granddaughter ended up breaking up with her boyfriend, so he thought like that best friend of his ended up thinking like, oh, this is my opportunity to move in.
I know, what a scumbag,
so
right?
Yeah, so he moves in for the kill where he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make out with her. He's all, what the hell are you doing? Oh, I thought you were sending me signals. No, there was no signals. And he's like, oh no, oh, I'm sorry, man. Don't tell my buddy. Don't tell him. They're all like, no, you know what? You're pathetic.
Yeah.
And so he ends up trying to leave. Well, he ends up like kind of sitting down on the ground, and he's all drunk. He dropped his beers and everything, and he's all, "Look, I had too much sexy girls drinking, feeding me guacamole, and I drank too many beers. You know, I was just in the moment. Oh man." So then he thinks the person of that house, the owner of the house, happens to be standing outside. And so he's talking to him, but it's Michael. So he's all like, "Oh, you know, when you're walking with a pretty girl and you know, you think you have a chance, but you don't. And, I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time. It's just a sad story." And then Dumbass starts getting scared, and he starts realizing, like, oh, shit, this isn't the owner. Who the fuck is this? I don't know. So he starts running towards the damn gate, picks his ass. So he's trying to climb this damn gate, which has, like, spikes on the top. Michael ends up stabbing his ass. They end up coming back with the girl Allison ends up hearing him from a distance, like, oh, he's screaming like it's like the end of the world. Let me go and run back and see what's up. She sees those spikes jammed right through the bottom of his jaw. Mm-hmm. Like, Michael, after stabbing him in the back, that wasn't enough, so he had to pick his ass up and then drop him right there on top of the damn spikes. So underneath his jaw, right through the top of his head, or coming right out through his bottom jaw. It's left his mouth all crooked. You know, he's got a big old metal spike right there. Honestly, he was pretty entertaining to watch. He was pretty funny, but the kill was better to look at though.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the only time I ever cheered for Michael Myers to kill somebody, because from the get-go of that fucking movie, I hated that character. Such a fucking douchebag. And then he's like being all like overbearing asshole, like in the hallway in the locker rooms, like all kissy on like.
Yeah, he kissed his chappy lips on motherfuckers, dude. So you
I love that part. He's all like, oh, that was a little kiss from me to you. You and your chappy lips, that's disgusting.
And I was like, you want to grab some ass? That's fine. But you start kissing me, that's a little gay. That's a little too gay for me. That's too close for me, man. You know. Ass grab's fine. Everything else is off limits, dude. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Sam Kroom used to do that to me. He would slap me on the ass.
Chris, I was fine with it. I'm mad enough.
I kind of feel Chris smiling right now. He's giving a little wink to Rose right now, too.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little ass grabbing, right, babe? Fucking that shit was I hated that character, but my favorite, like I said, was the intro. I love how and I didn't notice it like I had seen this film like maybe like 4 or 5 times before. It had been a while, and then I watched it, like I said, you know, this time a few times, like 2 or 3 times. And it wasn't until last night I noticed like a lot more things to where when the reporter's pumping gas, you can see Michael Myers walking behind him in that whole white outfit. And I started laughing because I was like, man, I've seen this movie so much. I never noticed this shit till now. And then when the girl's asking where the loot is, where the restroom, you can see him beating up the mechanic in the other, like through like a window, but it's like very like it's so distant and blurry, it's hard to see it. You have to see him.
He's wearing the white outfit, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to see that shit.
Yeah, but I never paid attention or just didn't catch it. But now I saw it, I was laughing. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah, like honestly, like I'm the same way too. I've seen that movie so many damn times. I have the special box edition, and I've been watching it, and I never caught any of that until more recently, and I was like, what the hell is that in the background? Oh, no shit, he's been there the whole damn time just killing people.
Yeah.
No shit. What a weird coincidence, Yeah, I guess Michael is in every damn scene, I guess.
Yeah, he's like everywhere. You just have to look for him. He's like Waldo. And then, when like the best part is the girl's in there taking a shit, and then Michael throws the teeth of the mechanic over the stall, and I was like, this is like really good, and proceeds to beat the fuck out of that dude that comes in there. Like, what a way to start off the movie. And like, I love that they actually made him like badass, not just like a dumbass swinging with the knife. They actually made him beating the fuck out of people with his bare hands. You know what I mean? So I love that shit.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, they made this guy monkey strong. I mean, he's picking up the girl, and he picks up the damn reporter in the restroom. He's picking her up by the neck, and you would think like, oh man, this guy's pretty tough. He's holding up this woman, like a full-grown woman, and he's able to lift her up and then start choking her. No, he's doing this to the dude, and he's doing this, and then he does that to the other boyfriend of the babysitter earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or later on in the movie, and then he's just like picking up people left to right. Even Laurie Strode, when he reached through the damn window, where right before he ended up getting his fingers blown off, he ended up grabbing her by the neck and was picking her up too. And I was like, golly, man, there is like no end to his strength. He's got that monkey strength. I was like, Jesus. But, clearly he doesn't look like he even works out. Like, I don't even think he has to. He's just naturally strong. So, I mean, man, good for him. But, I mean, Jesus.
Well, he was locked in a room for 20 plus years, and then all of a sudden he's CrossFit box jumping onto car roofs.
Exactly. I don't know. He was just gifted with some muscle or something. Good for him, though.
Yeah, no shit. Anyway. Yeah, motherfuckers, ready to rate this one? Give your overall thoughts, and why don't we go to Mr. Good Mood Karam over here?
Oh fuck! I'm gonna say this. My mood changed after having watched it. My view of it changed after I watched, because this always happens to me. Like, I'll watch a movie and then I'll find out something about it, and then my perspective on it changes. Like, I respect this movie more now than I did when I watched it, because I thought this was just a pure linear, like, what would this be, number 8, number 9 in the franchise? And I thought this was just a chronological, perfect chronological sequence of events from 1 to 2, so on and so on. Well, no. Turns out this is like a, Grandpa Biff gives young Biff the sports almanac, he gets in the DeLorean, goes back to, and then changes the new 1985. That's what happened here. So we go all the way back to part 1. And we get to the new, future that eludes all these other things, like Jamie Lloyd's first child being a son, or Laurie Strode having a son named John, and all these other killings and all these other events, all these other instances, and all the things Loomis did along the way, and all this shit. This is just, there's no H2O, there's none of that. This is just a completely different future route that it takes. And in that light, it makes more sense that they do some things they do, because I'm like, oh, come on, how many more times are they going to shoot him? How many more times are they going to blow up a building, all this stuff, and then he's still just going to come back to life? But no, in this new 2018 future, where all the other sequels haven't happened, they don't know that that's not going to work. They don't know that it's going to just be more of the same. They don't know that because they haven't done that to him yet. All that's ever happened to Michael Myers is he fell out the second story and then magically disappeared. So in that light, I will go ahead and say, I will give this movie, I'm going to give it a 7 3/4.
Very good.
All right.
All right, Gabe. Let's. What do you got, man?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, I mean this is a good foundation for the next trilogy, for these next up to coming movies. This is a good little. We get to see exactly what happened, like how they're dealing with this several years down the road. I mean, I enjoyed it. We get to see Laurie Strode, like how she was dealing with it. This is a different perspective, more grounded, more reality kind of check. Because these things happen to people. This shit is that shit is real. PTSD and people all traumatized. Not just by war, but I mean just by everyday life. Shit happens. People are ruthless out there in the real world. So honestly, this is I kind of feel like this is a good ground perspective of seeing that what it can do to certain people. And they even mentioned that in the movie, saying at some point or another, this is, some people, when they're traumatized, they get weaker or they get stronger. In this case, Laurie Strode, she got stronger and she was getting smarter about it.
Stronger and drunker.
Well, definitely drunker. And that shit happens too. I mean, But honestly, I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the kills. It was just fun, seeing Michael Myers again. Just seeing how everything just kind of played out. And honestly, I'm kills. This is just the backstory. Halloween Kills, the trailer honestly looks like it's nothing but an action deal. And I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out. That this might be my type of Michael Myers, set films that, if I'm going to reference anything, I might go with these movies. But I still love part 2. I love the other one, Curse of Michael Myers. But honestly, this is a good movie. I'm going to go with 7.5 on this one. This is a great movie. I bought the damn box. I don't see why I wouldn't continuously watch it every now and then. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, man, I have to agree with you. I don't want to give it too high of a rating, and I don't want to, bring it too low just because I love the Michael aspect, and that's typically I don't watch a Jason movie and the characters are no, I'm there for Jason. And this one's kind of right there for me too. 7.5, or 7 3/4, like Chris, right around there. It's they brought it back, man, after a few duds with part 4 and part 5. And me and Chris would Chris will tell you I think we both dug Curse of Michael Myers, right, Chris? We both kind of thought it was a different, but it was a good ass film, and it was kind of dark and shit. I didn't like Resurrection, didn't like H2O.
The Curse of Michael Myers is the 95 one, right?
Yeah, what's the one with Paul Rudd?
Yeah. That's the one. We did like that.
Yeah, so I mean yeah, I love part 1, part 2, Curse of Michael Myers, and this one, not in that order, but those are the ones that I'll watch. 4, it's okay, it's just fucked up mask and everything else, but part 3 too, but we're talking specifically the Michael films. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun. The kills, they the same way that when Jason's getting over on the kills. It just makes the movie fucking just so much better, and I'm glad that they brought Michael to the first 2 kind of films. It's funny when you watch this and you watch H2O, you see what a horrible fucking job they did with him. I mean, from top to bottom, just like a doofus with a knife, just swinging it I mean, it's I can't. Anybody that defends that movie's a fucking moron.
Can I just say that I liked H2O?
Fuck.
No, but I'm gonna admit something. Michael Myers H2O looks like a character out of a live-action Dr. Seuss movie.
With the hair, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, Chris, only you, but it's fine. Chris will get that one. Oh, that's right. You did give it. We were laughing about that for a while, right? Yeah, you're like.
10.
He's I gave it a 9 out of 10. It was something ridiculous.
It was 8. It was 8.5, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He was putting. So you liked H2O more than this one, huh?
Yeah, because here's the thing.
Unbelievable.
I liked it was the perfect logical ending to the franchise, and it worked, and it made sense. And then they have to do this resurrection bullshit, and then they have to. And I didn't know. And I will put them over for this genius idea, at least to try something, at least to experiment. So they're experimenting with the notion of go back from the very first one and then create a new future out of that, like alternate history. You know, they're doing an alternate history franchise thing. That's a cool concept. Try it out, see if it works.
I'm not going to argue with you, CJ. If CJ made up his mind about, I forgot that he liked H2O, dude. I forgot. Anyway.
I think he liked it because LL Cool J was in that movie.
Yeah.
And he was pretty cool in that movie.
Yeah,
with his romantic novel writing.
How come LL wasn't kissing? How come LL wasn't kissing more people in that movie, kid? Right, Chris?
He was too busy knocking mothers out.
That was out of shape. NBC sitcom LL Cool J before he came back 3 years afterwards after cutting carbs, you know?
Yeah, cutting out the carbs, man. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed Halloween 2018, and next time we talk about Halloween, we'll be doing Halloween Kills, but hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Man, you gotta be shitting. That mother's strong.
Peace.
Later, haters.